I just wanted to do a quick reaction to Mike Tapp and the Labour Party's grooming inquiry, which will focus on race, ethnicity, and culture and the potential links between certain crimes, grooming gangs, child sexual abuse. And I just want to talk about how incredibly dangerous this is and how they are becoming more far right and trying to out Farage by the day. And it ain't going to work. And let's get straight into the clip because it's insane if you know about race realism, race science, and how dangerous this is.
But it's also very important. And what we won't do is turn away from this. And it's about ensuring that if there is a link between ethnicity, between race, between culture, that we identify that so that we can deal with it. Whether it's because one of the reasons that the perpetrators are committing this crime, or one of the reasons that some have turned away from it, we need to get to the bottom of it, and I'm confident we will.
Okay, so race scientists, the far right, have been for, well, over hundreds of years, but at least the last 100 years trying to find a link between genetics, race, melanin, ethnicity, and a preponderance for crime. And simply, there is no link. The data, the sociological data, the longitudinal data, the scientific consensus is that no relationship between the two. What there is a relationship to is poverty, unstable families, repeat offenders, alcohol and drug abuse, inequality, poor areas where unstable families, stress, and also opportunism. A lot of men who usually abuse within the family do it out of opportunism. So, a classic example is a woman who breaks up with a partner, meets a new guy, she has kids, and the new boyfriend abuses her children. That's a classic example where this happens a lot. And this may be in an unstable family, there may be poverty, there may be drug use, and this has nothing to do with the ethnicity of the perpetrators, of the people involved. And why is this dangerous? Well, because first of all, you would not be able to ever find out ethically, do studies to find out a link between ethnicity, religion, culture, and crime. How would you conduct a study? How would you prove that? So a black person commits crime. How would you separate his sociological, his socio-economic, geographical, his schooling, his mental health? How would you separate that from how would you identify the pigment in his skin? How would you correlate that to crime in a scientific way? Well, you can't. This is insanely incoherent and anti-scientific. I mean, they are talking about race science here, race realism, that it's actually insane when you think about it. That the idea that we're going to do this study and we're going to try and find a link between crime and race, which neo-Nazis, the far right, Charles Murray, many pseudoscientists have tried to find for decades. They never have, they never will, but Labour think they're the people to do it. This is fucking insane. Insane, dangerous, because you are capitulating and buying into the narrative that, oh yeah, like certain ethnicities are and certain races have a disposition to certain crimes, especially when they're talking about grooming gangs as well, which is a narrative of the far right. Protect our girls, protect our children. How is this? No, this is anti scientific, incredibly dangerous. And if Labour go down this path, it really is going to be very dangerous for people of colour, people who embrace science and reject pseudo-scientific race science. And this is not a winning game. They cannot win this game because even if they did release the ethnicity, race of criminals. What are they going to do with that? Because we already know that white people, majority, commit child sexual abuse. So what are they going to do with that? We're going to keep an eye on white men more? Or they say it's East Asians. Okay, what are we going to do with that data? Because what the far right are going to do, they're going to go like, well, these people need to go, aren't they? Because that's what they want. So what policies are they? Oh, just keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on the Browns. Make sure they're not. Okay, but what about white people? Like, is there going to be a hierarchy? So we're going to put white people are more likely. So we're going to make sure we keep an eye on the whites. East Asian slightly less. Black people slightly less. So like, what are you going to do with this information apart from either like have it be white people and then the far right will completely reject it and go, no, we don't believe your science, or have it people of color and then they go, see, we told you they need to go. Like, this cannot end well because you're just buying into the narrative. Either well, tell me your thoughts below because this is insane. This is ostensibly a centrist or centre left party buying into race science, race realism, and it's a pseudo-science. This is pseudo-science we're dealing with. Either way, tell me below and I'll like to hear your thoughts.